Hey everybody, I'm Spectral Star and welcome back to another death battle. Today we've got Ganondorf versus Dracula from Castlevania. Ganondorf from Zelda versus Dracula from Castlevania. And if you know me, if you've watched any of my content, if you've seen any of my Nerdbender podcast stuff or anything, then you know that I have been dying to see Dracula in a death battle. Not in this form. I wanted to see, I wanted to see the Castlevania Dracula versus Alucard from Helsing. But this is close. This is super close. And honestly, as badass as Dracula is, and him being one of my favorite characters, I think Ganondorf's going to take this one just because the only thing that can kill Ganondorf is the Master Sword. And even when we saw Bowser versus Ganondorf, they kind of pretty much said the same thing back then, which I also reacted to that too. I'm a sucker for cool villains. Ganondorf and Dracula are two of the coolest villains in the history of gaming, period. Amazingly, I have loved these characters my whole life as a child, up to a bigger child. So, anyways, let's go ahead and get started watching this fight. I'm so ready for it. RoosterTeeth.
Fame may be fleeting and wealth ephemeral, but true evil never dies.
It just
Cool
comes
one.
back with a goddamn second health bar.
Ganondorf, the calamitous demon king of Princess Zelda's Hyrule.
And Dracula, the everlasting
Classic
vampire
Symphony of
lord
the Night art.
Castlevania.
And
He's
the other one was
whizzing
Ocarina
a
of Time.
boomstick.
Ocarina
And
of
it's our
Time,
job to
Ganondorf.
analyze
There
their
he is.
weapons, armor, and skills to find out who would win a death battle. Millennia ago, in an age long past,
Demise.
the Demon King Demise threatened to pull the world into blood and war.
Until he got his ass slapped by this pointy-eared boy in green.
Undaunted
cheeks
by
got
being,
clapped.
Murdered, Demise cursed the blood of the goddess and the spirit of the hero to be forever haunted by his wrath made flesh. That curse became Ganondorf Dragmire.
Demise
Good
and
old Dorf was
I mean,
born to
Ganondorf
the
and
Gerudo
Dracula
tribe of
have
the
a lot in
desert.
common.
Thing is, the Gerudo were all ladies, and Ganondorf was the first male born in 100 years, which automatically made him their king. Because reasons, I guess? Wait, so he gets to be in charge and has the best odds on Tinder?
Thick.
That's my dream come true. Who could want more?
Ganondorf could.
The only
Jealous
man.
of the neighboring kingdom of Hyrule's verdant fields, clean water, and not being a godforsaken desert, he dreamed of a better world for his people.
Or, just for himself. Being the reincarnation of ultimate evil means you're
Twilight
probably kind of a
Princess.
selfish douche.
And surprisingly, his vile ambitions would be rewarded. Turns out, he was also preternaturally adept at magic,
He was the first Zelda.
as befits an education from his caretakers, the witches Kaume and Kotake.
From them, Dorf learned to pitch balls of electricity, summon lightning, move objects with telekinesis, levitate, form barriers, and control minds.
When he wishes to fight from a distance, he can create phantom horsemen or puppets of himself to
You know-
battle as his proxies.
I just
Or
realized
if he
there's
wants
like
to get personal,
alternate
he can use his
dimension
dark
versions
magic
of
to enhance
Ganondorf,
his
like-
physical strikes, making him a badass.
that makes
at all
sense though. Like
ranges.
Aghanim
He's a
is one of
master
his
with a
alter
blade,
egos
sometimes two, and sometimes on
from
horseback.
Link to the
And
Past. If you haven't played
sometimes
that
two
one.
swords on two horsebacks.
Let's not get crazy. He was just a man, after all, though not for long. With his magical training complete, Ganondorf put his greatest skill to the test, his raw cunning. By manipulating the rulers of Hyrule and its neighboring domains,
Probably the-
as well as a
the smartest
curiously
villain in
familiar
all of
boy in
Nintendo.
green,
Hey, what do you know? Weird coincidence.
Ganondorf gained entry to an
The most
alternate
intelligent
dimension called
villain.
the Sacred Realm. Within it lay the Triforce, a magical artifact left by the gods said to grant the wish of whomever touches it.
The perfect solution to all your world-conquering needs.
If you can name a more
Except
intelligent
once
villain in
Ganondorf got
Nintendo's
his
history,
hands on those
I'd
golden
love to hear what
Doritos,
you think.
Two of them jumped ship.
See, only someone with a perfect balance of courage, wisdom, and power can wield the complete Triforce. If someone with an imbalance between those three virtues touches it, it splits.
Yeah.
In this case, the pieces of wisdom and courage went to Ganondorf's enemies, Princess Zelda and the hero Link.
Ah, that's embarrassing. But he did get to keep the Triforce of Power, because who needs the courage and wisdom shit when you can just blow stuff up? That's how I live.
Even on its
He's already
own,
wise.
the Triforce of Power radically improved Ganondorf's strength
And he's
and
not
magical
afraid
powers,
of anything.
while also elevating him from a mere warlock to the demon king he was always meant to be.
Yeah.
Literally, he can turn into a big blue pig monster.
The Dark Beast,
That's
known
his,
simply as Ganon, is a nearly unstoppable
dark
terror,
form.
gaining even greater strength without sacrificing any of his intellect.
As a bacon wizard, he can obliterate foes
A
with
bacon
fireballs,
wizard.
turn invisible, teleport, summon darkness, and even distort the space around him.
Despite all that
Played every
power
single
and
one of those
even
games,
successfully
beating them
ruling
all.
Hyrule for 7
I'm a
years,
nerd.
Ganondorf was soundly defeated and sealed within the Sacred Realm. There he remained, trapped outside the spaces of reality, a prisoner to the void between space and time, never to return ever again.
Yeah, right.
Sorry.
Just laugh it up.
I couldn't keep a straight face.
Yeah, no, he got out like the next day.
So nothing holds Ganon back for long, and he's insanely tough to kill. In fact, thanks to his part of the Triforce, he's almost indestructible. While most weapons can technically harm him, it usually takes a holy weapon like the Master Sword or light arrows to put him down.
He
Except
once
for in the
survived being
Oracle
crushed
games.
within his own
Well, that's
castle,
because it
which,
wasn't
based on its
exactly
size and
Ganon,
composition
it was
here,
just
and
his
accounting
body
for the hollowed-out interior,
his rage.
should weigh over 11,000 tons.
Even better, he later withstood a different castle exploding around him. Wow, some of this guy in castles.
By measuring the size of the in-game castle model and assuming violent fragmentation, we can determine it was a blast worth almost 2 kilotons of TNT, a yield comparable to early atomic bombs. And even though holy weapons can bypass his defenses, he still survived being stabbed in the face with
Yep.
the Master Sword. You know, the literal blade of evil's bane.
Yep.
Or like when he was impaled through the chest by one of the sages after he was supposedly sealed away. He just yanked that shit right out and murdered the bastard that did it to him. Heads up, Wiz, you ever stab me again and that's what's happening to you.
Right.
Now, the
Well,
Twilight
Ganondorf
Princess
isn't
version
just
of Ganondorf
tough.
was
He's
so
powerful enough to
badass.
punch shockwaves, tear up an island, and block out the sky with his magical malice.
So anime
Plus, he can keep
badass.
up with Link. He's even killed him in one timeline.
And we still have Breath of the Wild 2 to see
Beamos lasers.
the actual Ganondorf.
Which
Not,
are literal lasers. They move in a straight line, burn instead of exploding, and according to the
Not
game's
the
guidebook,
beastie
are called
forms.
lasers. So they should move at light speed. Based on the distance Link moved relative to this beam, we can estimate his own reaction speed to be about 11% the speed of light.
Too bad old Dorf Lundgren
You
doesn't
really
get
do
to
that, though?
hold on to Hyrule for too long. Still, you can stab and seal him away all you want. This big pork bastard will always
There
be
he
back
is,
to
Breath
bring
of the
about
Wild
your
Ganon.
crispy demise.
hell, that version of Ganondorf was the most cunning and... Oh, man.
In the world
Super
of
badass
Castlevania,
Ganondorf.
the universe is governed
Wind
by
Waker.
2 opposing forces.
Here we go.
Order and chaos.
Hey, it's like you and me, Wiz.
No, I mean literally. As legend goes,
The
for
Prince of
God
Darkness.
to be good, there must be an equal force of evil to create balance. An
Move
evil
over,
found
Ozzy.
in an alternate dimension called the Chaotic Realm. This is chaos.
But to keep his spot in the balance on Earth, Chaos needed to choose a Dark Lord to represent him. A Dark Messiah, if you will. As luck would have it, a perfect candidate would end up choosing him.
In the 11th century, Matthias Kronkvist was the strategic mastermind behind a company of knights, alongside
is
fellow
old school.
commander and best friend, Leon
Lament of
Belmont.
Innocence.
But as with most
think it was Lament of
romances,
Innocence.
it got screwed up by a homance.
It was,
Stick
it's
has
like the
of tact.
first
His wife died
game
from
in
a
the...
horrible illness.
Was
in
it
the
third wheeling?
chronology.
I'm sorry, Wiz, but you can already tell this guy is evil because his name is Math. I mean,
Yeah.
I know we use math all the time to do this show, but sometimes one must embrace the darkness to see the light.
It's true.
Right. Anyway, Matthias' grief was so intense, he swore vengeance on God
The Netflix
himself.
Castlevania
To
series
achieve
is
his
so
vengeance,
good.
Matthias sought the powers of God's
Especially the
polar
second
opposite,
season.
Chaos.
My God.
So he set up an easy
Not hard to beat the first
six-step
season, though.
plan.
Like, the second season's like
Step
8
one,
episodes,
pick
first
up a
season's
red
like
rock
4.
called the Crimson Stone. It'll be important later. Step 2, force death itself. to
Crimson
become
Stone
your
kinda
personal
reminds me of the
secretary.
Bayonet
Step
from
3,
Berserk.
Kill Luigi. Step 4,
Kill
convince a
Luigi.
vampire named Walter to kill Leon's fiancée.
Walter?
Because misery loves company. Step 5, let Leon murder poor Walt and have death shove his soul into that red rock. Step 6, congratulations, you are now a vampire. Goth kids, I hope you were paying attention.
From that day forth, Matthias rejected his
Oh,
humanity.
man, JoJo.
He became a vampire, and much more. He was the Dark Lord, Dracula.
It is
There
I.
have been a lot of different
Dio.
versions of
It was
Dracula over
I.
the years, but this one isn't your run-of-the-mill
Dracula, that was Helsing Dracula in the corner there.
type. This Dracula is the avatar of chaos on Earth, the opposite to God. So, like, the devil.
Yeah.
He's basically the devil.
The Prince
He
of
didn't have
fucking
much time
darkness.
to enjoy his new powers, though, as his former friend Leon swore revenge, a vow which would
That's
carry
a
on
good
throughout
PlayStation 2 game.
generations.
But good luck taking down this
I've played all
improved
these.
vampire
Whoa.
lord. He's got your standard vampire loadout like blood-sucking, flight, razor-sharp claws, telekinesis, and even tripping
I even
balls
played that one.
teleportation.
He can also exert his influence over all living things,
Simon's
whether it be
Quest.
mind control, body possession, or
cannot destroy
absorbing
me,
the souls and abilities
Father.
of fallen enemies
What?
through his power of dominance.
Oh yeah,
like
Selma
Kirby.
Cruz.
A demonic monster, Kirby.
Right, Kirby.
A demonic
Dracula
monster
can
Kirby.
shapeshift to his black heart's
So pretty much
desire,
Kirby,
like
yeah.
into a swarm of bats, a cloud of mist, and a wolf. Oh, I get it. The opposite to God, because he's a dog just like the way Alucard is Dracula backwards. God, I should do science.
He's also a master sorcerer, able to summon fireballs, meteors, and acid blood rain from the sky. Dark
So
Inferno
metal.
is a huge ball of magma that will fry anything in its path, and he can revitalize himself with another's life energy via soul steel.
Oh
Then
yeah.
there's his most powerful attack, a localized nuke of holy magic, the demonic Megiddo.
With all these powers, it's no
Megiddo.
wonder
I call
Europe
it Megiddo.
trembled
I
at
don't.
his
I'm,
presence
it's
for
because I'm a
centuries,
redneck.
Though perhaps their fears were unfounded.
Yeah, despite being living chaos or whatever, Dracula was sometimes a pretty
Megiddo.
chill
I
guy.
didn't
He even
really
got
know
himself
Megiddo.
married and had a kid. Then again, kids are also the embodiment of chaos.
True.
Sadly, the people of a nearby church grew suspect of his wife,
They
accusing her
fucked
of
up.
witchcraft.
So
they
hard
burned
right
her
there.
at the stake, and Dracula swore vengeance upon the god they followed as.
Wait. Did he just get a total repeat of his backstory? Man, this guy can't catch a break.
He
It
was
happens,
even forced
man.
to battle multiple descendants of Belmont, many of whom would actually defeat him.
Well,
Yep.
sort of. Turns out Dracula is a much tougher vampire to kill than lame old Walter.
Even after losing his entire
Anime
body,
Drac.
Dracula's soul remained tethered to chaos. Thus, he would be resurrected every 100 years.
When
Rondo
he wants
Blood,
to
I
go
believe
all
is what
out,
that
he
was.
can draw from the power of the chaotic
Dracula
realm
X.
and transform into one of many awesome monsters.
Oh, yeah.
Like a giant demon bird, a giant demon head,
Mm-hmm.
and a giant demon head in a painting that vomits out bats.
Mm-hmm.
Dracula can punch hard enough to rend stone, move quick enough to catch arrows out
Dude,
of thin
he's
air,
ridiculous.
and even work
He's more
the
ridiculous
fabric of
than that.
reality itself.
He's more ridiculous
He's
than
tough enough
that.
to survive a lightning strike, get blasted by an enormous meteor, and even get crushed under the weight of his fortress, aka the Castlevania.
Yep.
By measuring the size of Castlevania on the game's official art, we know it should weigh around 2 million tons. Even then, Dracula has regenerated his body from decapitation,
Yeah.
of blood, and even full-on disintegration.
So how the hell does he keep getting killed by everyone from Discount
vampire
Conan to
killer.
the Ghost of Weeb's past?
Naturally, with the help of holy weapons,
Holy
which
weapons.
Dracula is certainly not a fan of.
Also, even when he's turned his body into some misty vape clouds, he keeps his head vulnerable.
Misty vape
because
clouds. Blow some
video
fat clouds,
games.
bro.
Or more precisely, his hubris. Dracula's blatant arrogance would lead to his ultimate downfall, allowing his enemies to sever his
True.
connection to the chaotic realm and thus end his cycle of resurrections. So instead, he was reincarnated.
Into a white-haired anime boy with the power of friendship.
Who is also
Soma
ridiculously
Cruz,
overpowered.
Who turned out to be just as powerful as Dracula Classic, like when he dodged beams of light or when he defeated chaos itself.
Dracula's influence and power would never truly end. Even 10,000 years into the future, his bloodline
Kid
continues
Dracula.
to strike terror into the
Never
hearts
played
of
that
men.
one.
As long as good and evil exists,
He just throw
Hold
something
up,
at the sun.
That's his kid? What the hell happened
Wait,
to
what?
him?
no ordinary man can stand up to the incredible
Okay.
force that is the Dark Lord
I didn't know that was
Dracula.
Alucard.
Behold my proof form!
And despair. So fucking awesome.
All right, the combatants are set, and we've run the data through all possibilities.
It's time for a death battle!
All right, I'm so ready for this, man. I'm pumped now. I saw the preview and I'm stoked for this 3D animation. Just look at the faces in the animation. I mean, it's crazy how good it is. God. That schnoz.
Your castle is lost, vampire. No man can challenge my power.
But what is a man?
Voice acting is
A
on
miserable
point.
pile of secrets.
On point. Classic Symphony of the Night line. Excuse me.
I'm no mere man.
This is gonna be badass. Bitch slap! Oh my god. Dude. That face.
Your tricks mean nothing.
Oh, they don't, huh? You better not underestimate him. Oh, that Medusa head. I'm glad that he did that to that Medusa head. I hate Medusa heads. Jeez, now you know how I feel, Ganon. Another Triforce of Power. Could that be considered a holy weapon? It is made by gods. Oof. Throwing his weight around, isn't he? You think we'll have a Dio moment? He's got the Twilight Sword. Oh, well, I mean, that's not over. The Twilight Sword would be a holy weapon, wouldn't it? It's not good enough, though. Ooh, he's transformed. Uh-oh. Ooh, this is getting rough. Oh. Okay, he's used the Triforce of Power. He's gonna transform Beast Ganon. He's using Ocarina of Time Beast Ganon. Fuck yes. Dude. This is amazing. This is rough. I just feel like they're stalemating right now. Dark Megiddo. Megiddo.
I am no simple vampire.
Yep.
I am a god.
Yep. So is Ganon, though. Whoa. Whoa, what the hell? There goes the Triforce of Power.
You're right. You're not a man. You're a pig. Let me hear you squeal.
Oh god. No power. No Triforce of Power. It's just drinking his waste blood. Ugh. Okay, so I'm surprised that happened.
You know, I hope someday I can learn to drink beers as violently as Dracula drinks people.
There was a lot going on here. Both Ganondorf and Dracula show similar reaction speeds, with only a small % difference when compared to the speed of light. They were both brilliant schemers who have perfectly manipulated many intelligent foes, and their standard magical arsenals seem pretty comparable overall.
But Dracula did have a leg up with a few extra magic powers that Ganondorf just didn't have. Like how he could rip out his soul in a bunch of different ways. That's something Ganondorf never really had to guard against before.
Yeah.
Also, remember how Ganondorf survived an explosion worth about 2 kilotons of TNT?
An admirable feat, to be sure,
Yeah.
but let's look at that meteor strike Dracula survived. Based on its size, composition,
wait,
and
that
speed
was,
of ablation, it must have struck with an energy equivalent
I can't remember what the name of
to
that
2
game was,
megatons
but
of
I played
TNT,
it
1,000 times
DS
greater
or
than
3DS,
Ganondorf's
but
proven durability.
backwards
But hey,
compatibility.
I know what you're thinking. What about that sage sword Ganondorf had? Shouldn't he have had an easy time killing Drac since it's a holy weapon?
In some circumstances, sure. Running this fight over and over 100 times, Ganondorf would certainly score a few victories. But when considering Dracula's absurd regenerative abilities, it would take more than just a few hits from a holy weapon to finish him off. Not to mention, Dracula also wielded a holy weapon that took advantage of Ganondorf's weakness in the form of demonic Megiddo.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know it's called demonic, so it seems weird, but it is explicitly described to be holy magic.
Oh,
And dropping a
wow.
holy nuke on
It's a holy
Ganondorf
nuke.
was a way more powerful victory move than trying to hit Dracula with a sword.
That makes
And
sense.
that's really what this came down to. Power.
Despite literally wielding the Triforce of Power, Ganondorf's potential paled in comparison to the energy Dracula drew from Chaos. Let's put this in perspective.
The Triforce of Power comes from the goddess Din, who made the Earth. While we don't know the exact amount of power Din put in this piece, let's just highball it and directly compare it to her.
So the energy
That's all you
attributed
can
to the
do.
Triforce of Power could be compared to the size and energy of a planet. However, the chaotic realm is an entire universe,
Yeah.
completely upheld by the power of the Chaos entity. That is leagues greater than the power Ganondorf possessed.
So it
Soma
definitely
Cruz
had a lot
defeated
more
Chaos,
juice to give.
which he's
Try
Dracula.
thinking of the chaotic realm and the Triforce of Power as batteries, which fuel Dracula and Ganon's abilities. Compared to each other, Dracula would be drawing energy from something like a car battery, while Ganondorf's would be more akin to a small AA.
Wiz, I'll give you $5 if you lick that battery.
Yeah, look at
Ganondorf certainly held his own, but Dracula's more varied magic, greater regeneration, and enormous reserves of power sealed this desert warlock's fate.
Of
yeah.
all the ways to go, that must have sucked.
Honestly.
The Big Pig's chances were slim to none.
The winner is Dracula.
That's how it should have been. Dracula's just a
Did you know
beast.
we've got a card and dice dueling game?
Let's
Choose
see
your
what's
weapons,
on
armor,
the
and
next
skills
one.
before diving into the fight of your life.
Just don't
We
eat
got a
the
death
dice.
battle
They look
card
like
game,
candy.
huh?
They're not.
Click the link below to get the Death Battle game right now.
It's an idea. Okay, that's a One Punch Man character versus I don't know who the other character is. Okay, that was wow. I feel kind of revitalized by that. The last few death battles have been kind of not so great to me because you know I mean I guess Sasuke versus Hiei would have been cool, but you know I had a little issue with a bot on YouTube claiming it. So, you know, what can you do? It claimed it. I disputed it. And then as soon as it got back up, it claimed it again. So I just said, fuck it. It's not that big of a deal. There's plenty of other people that have reacted to Sasuke versus Hiei, and I am not that special. So I just let it go, you know, and hopefully this one, even though I've had to alter the audio and video even more so than I usually do, hopefully it will do just fine and it won't be picked up by that stupid RoosterTeeth bot. I hope. And if not, then oh well. At least if it doesn't, then I'm going to try to edit it some more and re-upload it. This time I will not delete the raw video and raw audio files. Like I did with Sasuke versus Hiei. I could have fixed it if I had done that, but oh well, it's me we're talking about here. So, nonetheless, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Death Battle. I'm Spectral Star, and this was probably my favorite so far. Going ahead. This is really cool. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Omae wa mo Kodoku.
It's no wonder Europe trembled at his presence for centuries, though perhaps their fears were unfounded.
Yeah, despite being living chaos or whatever,